Hi, my name is William Toole, and I'm going to be discussing the security of Bitcoin and blockchain. So first, let's talk about money and what the value of money is. Money is a generally accepted medium for the exchange of goods. It only works in a society if everyone buys into it. For instance, it is important that my job pays me the same type of money that I'm going to be used to spend at, let's say, a grocery store to buy my food. All forms of businesses in the US take the same type of currency, which is the US currency. You can use cash, but at many businesses, you're also able to use other forms of payments like a credit card, for instance, where money is taken from a bank that you have an account with. All of these concepts of money are put to the test when we talk about Bitcoin. Our agenda for this presentation, we are going to be discussing what is Bitcoin and what is blockchain, what security issues do these technologies present, and what are the pros and cons of Bitcoin compared to other forms of online payment. A cryptocurrency is a digital or virtual currency that uses cryptography for security. In order to obtain a Bitcoin, you need to go through a process called mining. So imagine hundreds and thousands of computers all connected together trying to solve algorithms, using all of their processing power joined into one. That is the process of mining. It's not something that you can do on like your computer, for instance. It requires much more processing power. That's why companies have plants that just dedicate entire server rooms full of computers trying to mine bitcoins to acquire more bitcoins. Bitcoins gained popularity through an illegal online transaction network called the Silk Road. So it gained popularity in the Silk Road because if I were to send you some Bitcoins, I wouldn't be sending it to your specific name or anything connected to you personally. I'm sending it to an address that you give me that can't be traced back to you. There's no personal information on your account, so therefore you can sell and trade Bitcoins anonymously. The way that these Bitcoins are recorded is through a ledger known as the blockchain, and that's what I'm going to discuss next. So what is a blockchain? A blockchain is like a diary or a spreadsheet containing information about the transactions. So for instance, you make a transaction, you're adding to the blockchain. These blocks contain encrypted information about the current node, the transaction that's being presented, and the previous node. So if you were to make another transaction, you're adding one more block to the blockchain. And let's say another transaction is made, you make another block to the blockchain, and it's just adding more to the blockchain. Every Bitcoin account has a copy of this blockchain, and if I were to send you Bitcoins to your address, every blockchain would update. So every blockchain would receive an additional node with record of the encrypted receiving address and the sending address. So this is one of the reasons why Bitcoin is so impossible to hack. So let's say you try to change the blockchain to give yourself 100 Bitcoins. And you're here in this orange block. The blockchain verifies itself with all other copies of the blockchain. Once it detects an error in the chain, it corrects itself. Because there are so many different blockchains, it is almost impossible to change all of them at once. You would need to change more than 51% of the blockchain, and there are tens of thousands of blockchains all separate. Because there are so many blockchains, it is impossible to change all of them at once, keeping the ledger of Bitcoin secure. So what is a Bitcoin worth? The first recorded transaction of Bitcoin was used to buy a pizza. Around when Bitcoin was first invented, a guy posted on a message board that he was willing to buy a pizza with Bitcoins. Someone delivered the pizza to his address, and he was awarded with 10,000 Bitcoins. That purchase valued Bitcoin at less than a penny. Today, one Bitcoin is worth over $7,000, with the price ever changing, sort of like a stock in a stock market. The Bitcoin's price depends on the supply and demand of Bitcoin transactions. So if there are a lot more Bitcoin transactions from today than there were yesterday, the price is going to go up because the demand for Bitcoin is going up. So where do you store Bitcoins? because Bitcoins are on the web. So if I were to have a wallet, I would be able to store my cash and my credit and my debit cards in there. With Bitcoin, everything is online. So you could have an app on your phone that keeps track of your entire Bitcoin wallet, or you can have physical wallets like this one labeled here, where it keeps your address where it keeps your encrypted address and the amount of Bitcoins that you have. So is Bitcoin secure? AVG, the antivirus software, has listed 3 reasons why Bitcoin is very secure. So Bitcoin is encrypted with the blockchain. We already went over that. Bitcoin is public. This means that you were able to, even though the sender and the receiver are anonymous, everyone still has access to that blockchain. So it's public. It's for the people can see it. And Bitcoin is decentralized. That means, like when I was discussing with the blockchain earlier, you can't just hack into one system. Like if I were to hack into a bank's online ledger, I would hack into their system and I could change things, but you can't do that with Bitcoin because it is decentralized and all the nodes are spread out. So what are the pros and cons of Bitcoin versus online banking? The first thing about Bitcoin is that it has a dynamic value. The price is always changing. If I were to store $100 in my online banking account, that value would be static. I would have $100 in my bank account with a little bit of interest the next day. But with Bitcoin, if you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and store it in your Bitcoin wallet, tomorrow it could be worth less than that. It could be worth more than that. So it's sort of like the stock market where you're investing in a certain type of currency and you can't be sure what the price will be the next day. Bitcoins can be used in secret. If you need a purchase that you need not to be tracked, you can use Bitcoins. When with online banking, the track, if it were to come back to you, there would be a recorded history of your information on it. So if you were to use a credit card, for instance, it would come back in your name. Bitcoin is one of the cons about Bitcoin is that it's not insured. For instance, if you were to have your money somehow stolen via your wallet, like if someone were to hack your account, there's no company that's going to help insure your money but if you're doing online banking, you're usually with most banks that are FDIC insured, you can have someone steal over hundreds of thousands of dollars for you, but it's FDIC insured, so you'd get that money back. And like I said, there's no help support with Bitcoin. There's no company that's going to make sure that you are using your Bitcoin account. But with online banking, there's one of the biggest problems that Bitcoin is a factor in is ransomware. So a hacker can infect your computer with malware, and because of Bitcoin, they can ask for a ransom of a certain amount of Bitcoins be sent to a certain address, and there's no way to, like if they were to use a credit card, it would go to a bank account and that bank account would be tracked. But with ransomware, sending it to a Bitcoin address, they can do that anonymously and they can reap their reward of the ransomware that have infected your computer without being traced. So because of Bitcoin's anonymity, it raises a problem with malwares like ransomware. So for my summary, Bitcoin has a level of security and is used online and is a great tool for anonymity. The market is always changing, so with Bitcoin, you don't know what the price is going to be. It's much different than just having a debit card or a credit card in your bank account. And Bitcoin opens up doors, both good and bad. It depends on how you use the aspects of Bitcoin, that you can use it as a tool for good or you can use it as a tool for bad. Some questions that I'd like you to think about after watching this presentation is, would you invest in a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin knowing now how it works? Do you think cryptocurrencies should be regulated? Right now, the cryptocurrency regulates itself, but should a government have any kind of influence in that? And number 3, could Bitcoin replace the norm for online transactions in the future? Do you think that Bitcoin is going to? Do you think Bitcoin is going? Do you think Bitcoin is going to become more popular in the future, or is it going to fade away? Here's why we're excited, and thank you.